Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here. This is a video update on Tuesday the 28th of April. So circumstances are still much the same, but the weather has changed, which is something different compared to most of recent weeks. We've got low pressure on the scene now, and with that a much more April showers type of weather pattern with some heavy bursts of rain in the forecast during the week ahead. Let's have a look through some charts then and just tell the story over the next week or so. And this, first of all, is the 850 millibar chart that we often show you during the winter half of the year, but it's relevant now as well. This is the constant pressure level that we use typically in forecasting. It corresponds very nicely to the highest mountain tops in Britain, at least when pressure tends to be low or the air is fairly cool, because as on this chart it's corresponding to about 1200 to 1300 metres. The 128 just shown to the northwest of Scotland is 1280 metres, so you can see that this chart then is representing those very high tops. Just to move that on, you can see that temperatures shown on this chart are around freezing or just below. You've got some -1s and -2s shown there across the Scottish Highlands, and that more or less is going to be the order of things into the first few days of May. The very highest tops hovering around freezing point, bit of diurnal variation where the tendency will be that values will lift just above freezing during the daytime and drop back below to head on into the night. So freezing levels will vary, typically though will always lie close to those highest Scottish tops. Lower down, for example, the higher tops of the Lake District in Snowdonia rising to highs of around 3 or 4 Celsius in the afternoons. Still then a cooler pattern than what we've seen in many recent times. Let's have a look through the general weather charts then. This is the big picture across the Atlantic and Europe to tell the story over the next week ahead. And we've got a trough of low pressure that is in charge for a change. We've had high pressure that has dominated many recent weeks, and it's going to be a much more classic April showers pattern. And well, April showers, you could call them springtime showers because they really often do continue onwards into May, and that's what's going to happen, I suspect, in the next 10 days or so. Low pressure then, with a front wrapped around it, will pivot northwards across Britain through Wednesday. The rain heaviest across Wales and northern England as it moves through morning into afternoon. That rain edging northwards into Scotland later on. Another trough of heavy bursts of rain follows from the southwest later in the day on Wednesday into Wednesday night. And the whole thing really just leaves us with a generally showery situation through into Thursday and Friday. Low pressure parked over the top of us, and it'll be the remnants of old fronts and troughs that circulate around this feature which will really get going the daytime convection, and showers will break out day by day increasingly widely. So showers may be well scattered in the morning but will become widespread, heavy with some hail and thunder onwards into the afternoons. Hit and miss in terms of what you get. Some places could well see rain, heavy bursts of rain over a good few hours, other places escaping drier, and the tendency that during the afternoons coastal fringes will stay driest of all, but just depends on local wind directions. This is by the time we reach the weekend, and things haven't really moved a great deal. We might just see a brief build of pressure a little bit, but I think things are still unstable enough to generate showers, so it's a similar sort of weather regime onwards into the upcoming weekend. A lot of uncertainty with absolute detail. These sorts of patterns, once we get into slow-moving areas of low pressure at this time of year, getting the detail out of the forecast 4 or 5 days down the line becomes very, very treacherous. The indication is that higher pressure tries to nudge back in around Sunday into Monday, as shown here, but the next little slow-moving low trying to lumber its way in from the southwest approaches as we go into the early part of next week. So temperatures may be lifting as the airflow turns to the south, but we're destabilising back to some either showers or longer periods of rain is never too far away. With a general east or southeasterly, it would be northwest Scotland that would fare best for staying driest for longest in this sort of setup. And if we look at things as a general trend into the first 10 days of May, this is the week as a whole. It's the pressure anomaly according to one of the forecast models, and it shows a general signal of shallow low pressure parked just to our southwest, which just continues that story of showers. High pressure suggested to be around Iceland, so just say north of Scotland, keeping, as I mentioned, the north and northwest Highlands on the drier side without seeing anything coming in from the Atlantic. Basically, we'll tend to hold on to that more cyclonic circulation with the wind field coming across Scotland more as an easterly compared to a westerly. High pressure shows itself quite strongly across the south of Europe, so it's moved away from us to be over the Mediterranean as we go into the start of May, maybe just feeding in those occasional pulses of warmth from the south through this spell. All in all, though, it looks as though we're into a more mixed pattern, a showery pattern, and a much more active weather regime with some heavy bursts of rain, more common, certainly, than we've seen in the past month. Bit of a big swap around then for the early part of May compared to April. So I hope that's been interesting for you today. As before then, let's just stick to doing what we've been doing, stay safe and stay local, and we'll get back to the mountains with some normality in good time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.